Well, local street artists known as buskers say they feel harassed by police.
They are talking to the San Diego City Council to ask to be left alone and for ordinances to be amended. 10 News reporter Mimi Alcala is downtown with how they are doing that.
Hello, my name is William J. Dorsett. I'm an artist and a busker here in San Diego, California. I've been busking for over 13 years. I've been fighting for busker rights for over 10 years. I'm making this video to help you learn how to fight for your rights as a busker or an artist in your city. First thing you need to know is that buskers are protected by the First Amendment. They're not only protected by the First Amendment, but they're also protected by the 14th Amendment. These protections are not diminished because you accept tips or because you sell your art. They are not diminished because some city has created a code stating otherwise. You are protected as a citizen of the United States to express yourself. This is under the First Amendment. If you go to my blog at artistandbuskersrights.blogspot.com, you can learn a lot of information about busking, art, street performance, and other things that are protected by the First Amendment and how to apply those protections to your art. First thing you need to know is the First Amendment, which is Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press or the right of the people peacefully to assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. Now on my blog, I actually have a compilation of case files. These case files go into great detail why, as an artist, as a musician, as a street performer, as a busker, that you are protected. Sparks versus White actually covers art, the displaying of art, and the selling of art, why it's protected even when you sell it, and definitions of what is considered protected art. Berry versus New York, Turley versus the City of New York, Lee Davenport versus Alexandria, Virginia, and Perry versus the City of Los Angeles all concern music. Some of these cases, like Berry versus New York and Perry versus Los Angeles, concern the sales and display of CDs and other art related to their performance. Turley versus the City of New York, Lee Davenport versus Alexandria, Virginia, is all about the music volume levels and what is protected and what is not protected. What regulations can actually be used against you because of your volume level. These cases go over that. Side note, it's about 10 decibels at most cities. If you go over 10 decibels, you are breaking the decibel limit and they can usually shut you down. This is a time, space, manner regulation, which cities can apply these to certain aspects, like you shouldn't be busking at 3 o'clock in the morning right next door to someone's house, for example. Or you shouldn't be busking if you're drunk in public. These kinds of things, they can use those laws against you. These case files are good to have. Download them, print them out, read them, learn the information in them. It will be very useful to have these as a backup plan for you. They're good to show to law enforcement agencies when law enforcement shows up and starts harassing you, which can and will happen. If the law enforcement does show up, you just need to be ready. Have the case files in your hands. Have them memorized. Be ready to tell the officers about your protections and why you're protected. Give them this information. Remain calm. Let them read it. Give them time to process the information. Have them call it in if they want to double check. It's really, hey, it's their job to check, like if they're going to accuse you of a crime, they should be sure that you are committing a crime. Sometimes they will ignore the information you give them and they will cite you. When they do, go ahead and take the ticket. You can fight it in court. These case files, if you have the full cases and take them to court with you, a lot of times the judge will dismiss the case on it being a violation of your First Amendment rights. If you take these to a case and you get your rights violated and you see a judge and you lose, you can appeal that case and go to the next highest court. You can go all the way to Supreme Court if you just keep appealing. A lot of times officers will not know this information. They're just doing their job. Someone called them and complained to them to come get you out of there because they don't like you. Maybe they don't like your music. Maybe they don't like the way you look. Maybe they think you're the reason their store is slow that day. Who knows the reasons why they call? People have different reasons to call the police, but they get called on you, so be prepared to talk to them and explain your rights and express your rights. But let's say an officer does write you a ticket or you get arrested. You go to court, you bring your court cases with you to court, you show them the laws and why you're protected when in court, and you should be able to get the case dismissed there. If not, once the first court case is done with, you'll get a court-appointed attorney if you can't afford your own attorney. You want to give all the information you have to your attorney, and this will help you in the case. Number one, if it's a court-appointed attorney, they're overworked and underpaid, so you've already done the research for them. You've made their job easier. Usually, they just try to get you to take a plea bargain. You want to win the case. You don't want to do a plea bargain, so you want to get this information to them about your constitutional protections. Once you've done all that, generally you can get the case dismissed before it ever sees a courtroom with a jury. If not, you may have to see a jury, in which case your lawyer or you will have to convince the jury of your constitutional protections. If that doesn't happen, again, you can appeal and take it to the next highest level court until it reaches the Supreme Court. Generally, you will win in these cases. Police officers don't really know the laws. They're just there to enforce laws that they don't have any real understanding of. They don't really care about your rights, even though they have sworn an oath of office that says that they must protect your rights. This oath of office is actually important because if they violate it, they can be fired from their job, barred from working law enforcement, and can be fined and imprisoned for violating your rights. When officers do approach you, be sure to be ready to record the encounter. This can only help you in a court of law because officers will lie in court. And so you need evidence of what's going on. Like, for example, this officer taking my art that I made from palm leaves. This should be documented in a court of law. You need to be ready for these kinds of things. So if you have your video camera or your cell phone ready to record, that will help you immensely. Another thing you can do is you can go to the community review board on police practices, find your community review board, get their information, their email, their phone number, send them a letter. Be sure to state why you're complaining. You're filing a complaint against the PD for violating your First and 14th Amendment rights. Explain what kind of street performer you are, why you're protected by the First Amendment, how you're protected by the First Amendment, what happened on the day your rights were violated, what time was it, what was the day like, how many people were out, how were you doing as a performer, what did the police officer do to violate your rights. What evidence do you have that he was violating or she was violating your rights? Um, have all this information ready and put it in your letter. Include this letter and send it to the Community Review Board of Police. This will help you. If you don't have a review board of police, send this letter to the media, send this letter to internal affairs at the police office that your officer that cited you works at. Send this to your city council members. These things can help you as well. In the meantime, look up what you were cited for. You find the municipal code that you were cited for, you look it up. Once you know the code, you can get a copy of the municipal codes and look up the number. In our case, we put 33.1406B. That was soliciting peddling prohibited in certain areas. And the area was the territory lying westerly of the easterly line of Prospect Street between the northerly line of Cave Street and the southerly line of Colvier Street. This describes the crime they're accusing you of. Saying, in this case, it's saying you can't sell merchandise, basically. There are exceptions, and I don't know exactly where it is in this code at this moment, but you can look around for First Amendment exceptions in your codes, and generally you'll find them. That can be applied here. Another thing that can be applied is if the code is somehow vague and doesn't really go into detail what it means. Like, this is a vague description. It says various types of merchandise, but it doesn't mention art or First Amendment protected wares or anything of that nature. So it's a little vague, and this makes it unconstitutional as well, because it's supposed to be concise. It's supposed to mention everything. So you can use that to your advantage. You want to get that information to your lawyer or to your public defender as well. That will help you in your fight for your rights. For First Amendment and 14th Amendment rights as a busker, as an artist, as a street performer. This will help you immensely. You need to know all this information. You need to have your resources ready and available so that you can provide information to the necessary people. You need to be ready to visit with city council. You need to organize your buskers. Start a Facebook page for your city, for buskers in your city. Organize them. Get them together. Collect videos. Collect information from them. Petition your government to write codes into your city code to protect you just as your Constitution protects you, so that they don't have any troubles themselves, because this can cost your city lots of money if you win in a court case. And it's a waste of the court's time, to be honest with you. They shouldn't be worried about whether or not you should be on the street or not, because the Constitution already says you're allowed. You're protected. So this shouldn't be wasting valuable time and space in court. Everyone should know your rights. So learn this information, gather this information, apply it in every way that you can. It can only help and empower you as an artist, as a busker, as a musician, as a performer. There are lots of resources out there. There's a Wikipedia page, Busking, U.S. Case Law. Just look that up on Google. There is buskersadvocates.org. This is a great site for resources concerning busking. There are also some lawyers that you can contact through this site. There is the Busking Project at busk.co. You can join this page. You can get resources to gigs. You can get information concerning busking. They have a lot of case files on file as well. Pictures. You can hire performers through this site. It's a great little site to find buskers and performers. Again, go to my blog. It's Artists and Buskers Rights at blogspot.com. I have lots of things which you can explore. The compilation of case files, the definition of a busker, news stories and media on artists and buskers' rights. Um, I have video collections of police harassment of buskers and artists. Speaking of which, please, if you have videos or you have news stories or case files that you would like to share and would like to be in this blog or in my videos, please send them to williamjdorset@gmail.com. That's williamjdorset@gmail.com. Please send videos so that I can help you fight for your rights in your city too. Learn this stuff, share this stuff, empower others. This is the way we get our rights fought for in every city of the state, every state of the country. This is how you do it. This is the information you need. Use it wisely. Thank you for taking the time to listen to my video and watch what's going on. Please check out my Patreon page. It's patreon.com/WilliamJDorset. Please donate through Patreon. This will help me create a video series that will help fight for buskers' rights. It will also help me create a book so that you have all this information available to you while you're out busking in book format. That could be very useful to you later on as a busker. Thank you for your time for visiting my site and checking out what I'm doing. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial video on fighting for your rights, and I wish you luck on fighting for your rights as a busker and artist. Have a great day.